Do you actually believe it when you talk about USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten? Because if you love college football as much as I know you do, was that leaning into the shtick a little bit?
No,
Because
no.
I
Okay,
hate
why?
it. I hate it. It's fucking stupid. Okay, it's
Okay.
stupid. Rutgers
Okay.
is going to be in the same conference with UCLA. Argument over.
Well, my theory's been kick Maryland and Rutgers out. Why does it? It's a one-way door. Why can't I get rid of people? Why do I have to have them forever? I don't understand that at all. If I was an AD, I'd be like, Rutgers, we rolled with it, doesn't work. See ya. But politically, presidents, universities don't like to do that. So here's my takeaway.
I'd have to see the real data though on you and I used to laugh about different strategic things that we'd hear about. And I know I interrupted you there a little bit, so I'll be quick. But it was like Rutgers brings you the New York City footprint. And you're like, if you asked 10 people in New York City what Rutgers was, you might go 1 for 10 on that. So, but if you're telling me that some cable package has brought in all this money, I'd be wondering why anyone's paying for it in the first place. Because there was always some stuff where, like, if UConn were in the mix, people would argue like, oh, well, it's close to Bristol, as if any of us on the content side of things were like, we need to start paying a little bit more attention to the American Conference because we're only about 40 minutes from stores. Like, it never happened. It happened 0 times ever that we were there. So I'm with you on why is Rutgers. I know why Maryland left the ACC. All of their fans would rather be there because it's a basketball school before it's a football school, even though it looks like it probably have a decent football team this year. I don't know. I think we've crossed over a line where there's still plenty of money to be had out there, and we're ruining stuff that I loved. I love the culture and geography of the 5 to 6 conferences.
Okay, so here's why I'm okay with it. Because I think the minute we go to a 12-team playoff, conferences won't matter. It's a prime example. 68 teams get in March Madness. All the big conferences get 5 or 6. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. It's all about seeding. The minute we go to a 12-team playoff, SEC's getting 4, Big Ten's getting 3. I mean, you can just write it down right now. 7 of the 12 are probably right there. 1 or 2 ACC, 1 or 2 Pac. There'll be a Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
My takeaway is what we're really seeing is the erosion of conference importance. Well, that's why I like March Madness. I'm not rooting for the ACC. I'm rooting for the game. I'm rooting for the outcome. I don't care where Gonzaga plays or where Kansas plays. They're just big brands. And my takeaway is college football's gotten so conference-centric. It's so regional. I'm like, can't we just make it a big canvas and not really care where they come from, but have more big games at the end of the year? So I'm rooting for, the bottom line is my Pac-12 friends, and it was the conference I grew up with. Oh, they're ruining it. Dude, ruining what? You stand up on a Thursday for Oregon State USC? Nobody watches those games. I see the numbers. But USC Wisconsin at Camp Randall, USC Ann Arbor at the Coliseum, those are just more good games. I think college football has a problem. It's too regional, 1. And number 2, without a 12-team playoff, teams are petrified to play a big game out of conference. Shit, this weekend's a great example. I got 2 good games. Georgia, Oregon. I think Ohio State, Notre Dame. But that's a 17.5-point spread. I just want more good games. And this forces USC and UCLA to go to Camp Randall, Ann Arbor, the Shoe, Iowa. And so I feel like as a consumer, I just get more good stuff.
What if the Lakers said, hey, look at population charts, look at access to business, being the only game in town. We're just going to go to China because there's more money. NBA can have 29 teams. We're just going to be the Lakers. We're going to be out of Beijing. Sorry, just more opportunity.
Well,
and with that, again, it's an absurd question, but some of these philosophical defenses that I hear about all this stuff, when it all could have been like, if it weren't for Larry Scott, the Pac-12 would be in a much better position and we wouldn't be here. So I don't know if that changes the timeline, the what if scenario here, but I think there's a line that has been crossed. And, I know that younger people, I think a lot of it turns into the haves. The Big Ten and SEC fans are happy with it because it's like, well, cool, as long as we're fine. when, I don't know. If I'm in the SEC West, you're like, cool, we're adding Texas and Oklahoma. Awesome.
You did take a big leap there. You went from
Yes, I made up a massively stupid scenario, but I'm just trying to like test the limits.
Yeah, that you went from
that was terrible.
I bumped into my ex at Starbucks to we're getting married. They're really not the same.
To her sister.
I mean, Lakers going to China is like, okay, that's a big swing. I'm not sure I can that.
Right, but the reason I bring up that stupid analogy is because I've heard people go like, well, the money, access to this, footprint and all these different things. I was like, okay, well, fine. What if you applied those same principles to the Lakers going, yeah, we actually just want to leave from the NBA. We want to play in China. We're going to make way more money for our owners. And be like, okay, but everybody would say no to that. It'd be like, oh, that's crazy. When basically all of this has been a massive money grab. And for these schools to complain that, well, we had to do it because our budget's so screwed up, that's your fault. You've had endless increased revenue streams and you keep fucking it up. And that's the part where I've been so pro players cashing in on all this, is that throughout my travels, I'd leave one practice facility and then I walk like across campus and I go, what the hell is this? And they're like, oh, this is our new facility. Like, wait a minute, what was wrong with the one we were just in? It's like an indoor place. Be like, no, this one's like 200 million. We needed it. I'm like, how old is that one? Be like 6 years old. You're like, so you needed this one. You're like, yep, we needed this one. And you're like, all right, whatever, pay the kids.